A very good evening to everyone. It is my pleasure to invite you to the webinar today. My name is Nidhi Gupta. The North Indian section of the Textile Institute invites you to the webinar on Lifecycle Assessment and Digital Product Passport in Textile and Fashion that's revolutionizing sustainable fashion. Can I invite Dr. Vijay Yadav to introduce NISTI and its activities over the year?
Thank you, Ms. Nidhi. Good afternoon and welcome all the valued members of NISTI, respected patrons, industry experts, academic collaborators, and emerging talents in the field. In a world where the textile and the fashion industries are increasingly held accountable for their ecological footprint, embracing the data-driven methodologies is a key to achieving genuine processes and compliance. It is in this spirit of innovation and responsibility that the North India section of the Textile Institute, called NISTI, extend a warm welcome to this enlightening webinar by Dr. Kannan Muthu on Lifecycle Assessment and Digital Product Passport in Textiles and Fashion. We are honored to host Dr. Muthu, who is working as the Chief Sustainability Officer at Green Story in Canada and is a renowned figure on sustainability. More detailed profiles shall be given by Dr. Nidhi, who is moderating the webinar today. For those joining us for the first time or seeking a deeper understanding on the NISTI, let me give a brief contributions of NISTI. NISTI was established in 1989 under the visionary leadership of the two eminent textile figures. One was the late Dr. N.M. Savani, then Director IIT Delhi, and the late Dr. J.K. Nigam, who was the then director at Sri Ram Institute of Industrial Research. They were ably supported by distinguished professionals such as Professor V.K. Kothari, and we are happy to have with us today, and many others from IIT Delhi, Birla Group, Voith Paper Fabrics, TITS Bhivani, DCM, among many others. All those pioneering founders were highly respected in the Textile Institute and India's textile professional circle. As a proud chapter of the Textile Institute Manchester, which itself is a global authority with over 110 years of legacy, NISTI has always enjoyed the largest membership of the Textile Institute within India. Its organic growth has been fueled by regular professional activities that engage both members and the wider community at large, particularly through the periodic international conferences. Need to mention here that last year, we had a conference on sustainability in textiles and clothing held at IIT Delhi in collaboration with IIT Delhi. Currently, with around 65 patrons, 4 industry partners, and 5 institutional partners, including NSUT Dwarka, TITS Bhivani, and JS Institute of Design, Delhi. NISTI fosters collaboration between the technocrats, industry pioneers, and academia to advance innovation and sustainable progress in the textile sector. Last 6 months, we had organized many of these webinars, starting with Dr. Dali Kosi, who presented on fashion for the sustainable future. Then we had from Dr. Sheshadri Ramkumar, and then we had from Dr. Sheetal at BITRA, then SP Verma, Dr. MS Parmar, who is Director General of NITRA, and last in the series was from Mr. Shankar, who is an IIT alumnus, and he presented on the transformation of the PET bottle waste into recycled fibers. Today's webinar, which is featuring Dr. Kannan, continues the NISTI's legacy in this direction, and basically for advocating the sustainability. We invite you to contribute to this journey, whether as a NISTI patron or as a professional or as a institutional partner or in whatever role. I think more details on for this particular association can be found on our website. This webinar is being streamed live on the NISTI YouTube channel. We encourage everyone to subscribe and follow us on our social media handles. And details of these links will be shared in the chat for the information of everyone. For those seeking a participation certificate from us, please provide your email ID along with your name and organization details in the chat box, and we will issue the certificates subsequently. Before we proceed, I am delighted to invite our esteemed chairman, Dr. R.A. Lal, to to address you all and take the proceeding forward. Thank you for your presence and participation, and we look forward for an enlightening webinar. Jai Hind.
Thank you,
Please.
Dr. Yadav. First of all, I welcome our learned speaker, Dr. Subramaniam Senthil Kannan Muthu. See, people in South have a big name because their name is derived from their village, their parents, and their name itself. So that is why their name, and that is good identity of one person from the name of the person. You need not ask who was your father, what is your village and all. So it is a good practice. Dr. Subramaniam has got over 20 years of experience in sustainability. And sustainability, as you all know, is a buzzword. And it is, I think, in existence from over 20 years. Dr. Subramaniam was there in this area. Earlier, it was energy conservation, then water conservation, then it came organics, then it came before organics, it was eco-friendly textiles, organics, and means thereafter the sustainability word has come. So in a way that is, it is an old wine in new bottle. Old wine is always good, no? It is with some improvement. So therefore, sustainability is with so many improvements. There are so many components of it. And Dr. Subramanian is the well-versed and expert in all the components, which I can see from his profile, which Professor Nidhi will be reading a little later. I can only say that the NISTI participants, our alma mater, are privileged to have Dr. Subramanian as a speaker on sustainability here. NISTI's efforts have been to promote sustainability for the last 2-3 years. Even more than 2 years, we have been working on sustainability, and we are getting all good support from our world level speakers and from the participants. All participants are coming from very privileged lot. They are highly placed and highly professionals, and they in us. I am very thankful to my team, Dr. Vijay Yadav, Professor Nidhi Gupta, Professor Nian, Mr. Bajpayee, Mamta, who is office assistant, who has not joined here. And I heartily welcome all the participants, especially Professor Kushal Sen, Dr. Kothari, Dr. Vinod Shanbag, Dr. Chatterjee. I cannot name all, but there are many new known faces, and our regular patrons and NISTI guides, you can say, those who guide us through the way. I welcome them all, and without taking much of time, I request Professor Nidhi to introduce Dr. Subramaniam and then take the webinar proceeding forward. Thank you, Professor Nidhi.
Thank you so much, sir. These are really enlightening words and very encouraging for all the participants who've joined here. So let me take a minute to please introduce our esteemed speaker today. Dr. Kannan Muthu is a pioneering textile and clothing sustainability expert with more than 2 decades of experience in the industry. He has proven record in team management, public relationships, and successful project executions worldwide. He has demonstrated successful stories in capacity building, strategy planning, and advisory for global brands and manufacturers. So here we would like to welcome Dr. Muthu to take the stage and share his expertise knowledge. Before that, all the participants to please note, once the webinar is, the presentation is done, we will allow the space to open up for questions. In between, if you have any questions, you can put it down in the chat, and we will be putting that up at the end of the session for sir to answer. In case you feel you would like to directly question at the end of the session, please, you're required to raise your hand so that we can allow one by one for the questions to be presented. Sir, over to you. The stage is yours for the knowledge share.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. So happy to be a speaker in this esteemed organization. To be very honest, it's very new to me. Today, I just learned what NISTI is all about. I'm very happy to know what is the contribution of NISTI towards developing the textile sector. I'm here, for the main reason of me being here is Dr. Akshay Kumar. So, who told me that you should be here. So I'm thankful to Dr. Akshay, Dr. Lal, Dr. Yadav, Dr. Nidhi, and all the members of NISTI for having me to talk about life cycle assessment and DPPs in textiles and fashion. I hope you can see my slides, and Dr. Nidhi said you can reserve your questions at the end. But in case if you don't agree to anything of what I'm going to say, you're most welcome to stop me there. I'll be happy to explain and clarify. But still, if you want to reserve your questions at the end, please feel free to do so. So, right. So I'm going to talk about LCAs and DPPs in textiles and fashion. So this is, like already I've been introduced. So I did my PhD in Lifecycle Assessment from Hong Kong University in 2008. You can see, how it would have sounded weird. I did write my proposal in 2007 in Lifecycle Assessment in textiles and fashion. So that time, people have not even heard of sustainability. But I started writing proposal on LCA. And when I was, in Hong Kong, we have, like two defenses, one in the middle of the course and one at the end. So, like in the course of, I think I finished my PhD in 2 years and so. I by God's grace and my professor's guidance, I was able to finish my PhD with flying colors. So during the 2.5 years course, I was always been discouraged. People used to say, "Hey, what do you want to do in this? Maybe do something with fabrics, be a professor somewhere." So when I was also defending, I remember in one of the events, almost 150, 200 participants were there. So everyone was giving a shabby look. What this guy is talking about? Life cycle assessment, sustainability, environmental pollution. What is all talking about? So I think if I recall those days in 2008, early 2008, so in the hall, only myself and my professor, we were the only believers. And my professor is a visionary, Professor Ely. I think all of you know. Is the author of Science of Clothing Comfort, a great visionary man. And I feel very blessed that I have a chance to work with him for my PhD, work under him for my PhD rather. So, he was telling me when I was writing the proposal in 2007, he said, "Kannan, India is, really developing, and in the decades to come, India is going to be pioneer in this field. So it's really apt for you to, focus on this LCA." So that's how I started doing my bolster upon my thoughts towards LCA. Let me put it that way. So after my PhD, I was with the SGS Hong Kong, and in fact, I was instrumental in developing sustainability services for SGS in most of the Asian countries. But I was a global manager in SGS. I developed a lot of services, and if you all know about Higg Index, so I was one of the early members who designed the concept of Higg Index. I was contributing to the development of Higg Index and the verification standard. And 5 years I was with SGS. Then 2 years I was. And then I was part of a company called SGT, again as a global head and the director of sustainability. This is again French company based out of Hong Kong, but again I worked in a lot of global locations for this company. I was there for 5 years. And then for the past 4 or 5 years, I'm with a company called Green Story. So this company is based out of one of my books. So far I've written around 100 edited, authored around 180, 90 books. So one of my books is called Handbook of Lifecycle Assessment. It's a de facto book. So this company was based out of one of my books called the Handbook of Lifecycle Assessment. So, they found me, I found them. So, like our roads did join. So for the past 5 years, I've been working with them as a chief sustainability officer. Our company is registered in Canada, Amsterdam, Hong Kong, and India. I'm still based out of Hong Kong, but keep traveling across all the global locations. I'm also independent verifier of EPD. And I'm very humbled that I was invited by European Commission last year to review the eco-invent data sets. I was very humbled, the European Commission invited for product environmental footprint. I'm also one of the committee members of PCR for apparel and textiles. This is all I talked about. And I have almost 2 decades of experience. I've been to many hundreds of factories across the globe, including a lot of factories in Asia, Europe, as well as Africa. So I work for a company, as I said, it's called Green Story. So it's a leading artificial intelligence-enabled B2B sustainability intelligence platform. The good thing is we work only in apparel and textiles. We don't work with anything else. So far, we work with 6,000 plus proprietary data points on maybe perhaps you name any fiber on earth, any metal on earth in terms of textiles and apparel, we would have worked. And personally, I would have worked more than that. So even new fibers which were introduced, for example, seashell, regenerative organic cotton, Himalayan nettle. So these are very rare fibers, but all these fibers I have worked 5 years, 4 years before. So this is the this is the kind of expertise I developed and my company has developed. So far, maybe I'm very humble to say we would have worked with 100,000 plus supply chains in terms of environmental assessments. Again, not only for HIG, including environmental management, including carbon footprint, energy. Dr. Lala said. So when I started my journey in PhD in LCA in 2007, it was niche. Today also the field is niche, but in a different format. So this is the experience. We are in the business for 10 plus years. Personally, I'm in the business for almost 2 decades, as I mentioned before. So we work with clients of almost 34 to 40 countries. What we do in terms of sustainability with textiles and fashion is we work on EU compliant digital product passports, which I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes. We work on product lifecycle assessment, which is called LCA. We also work with product carbon footprint. We work with corporate carbon footprint, which is again scope 1 to 3, ESG reporting. We do verification audit services, including environmental audits, chemical audits, HIG index, zero discharge of hazardous chemicals. You name it, anything we'll be working on when it comes to sustainability in the space of fashion and textiles. So this is our global partner network. So you can see, we partner with a lot of organizations across the globe. We partner with IBM. They're also going to partner with other, major similar companies, which are observed in the discussion now. We also partner with UKFT, and they have a program called Impact Plus, where I'm a chief advisor as well. Plus, Green Story is also part of it. They also work with SIPAS, Bain, Pragnia in Pakistan, and you all know Niti Aayog. I'm the special advisor to Niti Aayog for product carbon footprint in India. So that's why I keep coming to India. We also partner with Tirupur Exporters Association, Karur Exporters Association, SASMIRA. Last month I was with I was in partner with Ministry of Textiles to talk about again the same subject. So where we talked about a partnership with SASMIRA, and these are all the awards and media coverage and certifications what we have. So this is our leadership with sustainability. You can see our leadership is completely with sustainability dudes. So our advisors are coming from similar backgrounds. So this is myself, and then we have 2 co-founders, Navadit Babel and Akhil, also having very rich experience from the sustainability side. Also, our investors are coming from sustainability. So why I'm saying all this is we understand the language of sustainable textiles and fashion. And again, we served leading manufacturers and brands globally. So this is just a pinch of our customers. We work with a long list of customers across the globe, including brands, retailers, manufacturers. Since the time is very limited, I just want to run through all this. And again, since I'm giving a talk in NISTI, so I thought it would be interesting to talk about Green Story's leadership with very specific focus to India. So we work with leading institutions in India to bring out change in India in terms of sustainability and build export competitiveness in sustainability within this space. So having said that, we partner with Niti Aayog, AEPC, SASMIRA, Switch Asia, Intellicap, and Karur Exporters Association as well. These are all very specific Indian organizations. Right. Now let's reach the topic. So the compliance or the regulations. So I want to term this as a regulatory tsunami. The reason is that, 10 years before, they were all very little. But today, without this, you can't export. I used to say this, 10, 15 years before or 20 years before, you can sell whatever you produce. But the era is gone now. You can't really do that. You have to really comply with certain norms, certain regulations, certain guidelines if you want to export to anywhere else. Even in India, I work with a lot of companies, like domestic companies. They all comply to a lot of regulations. So, the reason why I term this as tsunami, it's like, it has come as a big wave. It is coming as a big wave. It will come as a big wave because, I'm part of a lot of such committees. So that's why I'm saying it is going to be the case always. So for example, 2023, when specifically we had directives on green claims. For example, you can't claim whatever you want. So for example, I keep, hearing these terminologies. I'm also part of Journal of Textile Institute, as one of the subject editors for almost 5-6 years. I'm very pleased and proud to work with Professor Sungai Wong, who's the EIC. So I get a lot of papers as well. Again, there are a lot of academicians. For the interest of academicians, I'm saying. So I used to say that, sustainable eco wash or sustainable wash. But when I look at what is being done, nothing. So this kind of, let's say, greenwashing should not be there. And this has to be regulated. So, for this, we have a directive on green claims. Even there are few terminologies which are abandoned. You can't use the way you want. And so we have green claims code. And 2024, very importantly, we have eco design for sustainable products regulation, which is ESPR. This is where the crux of LCA and DPP sits, which I'll talk about it. In 26 to 27, there is going to be DPP initiative implementation. So again, I've been in the sector for quite some time. Generally, our trend is, our tendency is, jab aata hai tab dekhta hai. I don't think this is going to be the case, because I keep seeing this, when very crucial initiatives were introduced, people did not take it. So I started my first business in 2011, including India. So when I came, you can understand that time there were no regulations. I had hard time to convince people to go for eco packaging, lifecycle assessment, environmental footprints, carbon footprint. Now my job has been made easier by NGOs, governments, regulations. So for example, China started working with IPE, not now. Even where I wrote the entire roadmap of Guangdong province for carbon footprint with my professor in 2011. So, you can see that, different countries have started way before. But again, I'm so happy that, there is a huge interest coming from India. So as I said, Niti Aayog, so I just want to say this, I cannot disclose much, but I can say this, which the momentum which other countries have got it in, let's say, 6-7 years, India wants to achieve in a couple of years. So that kind of drive is being, led by the visionary leaders, including our, respected Prime Minister and the cabinet ministers. So now I have a chance to very closely work with them. I can say this, India is coming, in a fierce way, and it is really preparing. I can see the preparedness. Let me put it this way: I can see the preparedness of facing any sort of compliances. Anyway, now back to this. So it's going to be this. I've made this slide with a tricolor, let's say tripartite colors. One is what is all in discussion, what is all expected to be passed, maybe in a couple of months or maybe in a year or so, and what is already passed. So you can see here's already so many dots. So this is a regulatory tsunami. So it is going to be there forever. Now we are absolutely in the right moment to talk about this, right? What this DPP and what it means for Indian manufacturers. You can see already, right? There is a tariff block. I don't want to speak about this. You all know this. It's difficult to overcome. It really frees the market. It is going to squeeze the market. So now there is the other way around. Always, when God closes one door, he opens the other door, right? That's a proverb. So there is a non-tariff barriers which can be overcome. But again, the disclaimer is it can be overcome only with the right data and technology. We work with, I'm also independent consultant and advisor to a lot of companies in India as well as across the globe, including brands and retailers. So there is a disclaimer. I have to say this: it can be overcome, but only with two things: right technology and right data. If you don't have this, it's going to be very tough to invade into Europe. So as global markets do shift, this is an invaluable chance. Let me put it this way. Let's say it's a bounty for Indian exporters to establish reputation as a sustainability leader and a reliable sourcing partner. You all in the trade, so you all know this, today, the whole world is looking at a reliable sourcing partner with two T's, traceability and transparency. When these two are at stake, it's going to be very difficult in terms of doing the business. So having said this, before I open the topic of LCA, let me put it this way. What I'm saying is, the understanding of the subject in terms of sustainability, it's quite lacking, I would say. So, there are a lot of myths, people also talk about, DPP is crap, DPP is myth. Leave all this, we are not in the position to debate. Now, again, that was a saying when I was a, bachelor student. I think it was by We God, right? However big you are, you can't survive if you don't adapt. I follow this very swiftly and very strictly rather. So if you don't adapt, it's going to be a distant dream, because sustainability and as well as the complaints in terms of embedded sustainability, to me, it is not a urgent thing, rather it's an emergent thing. So if someone asks, like when I was giving a talk in AEPC last month in India, I flew to India. So someone asked me, Dr. Muthu, I've not started yet. Is it late? I said, yeah, you're late. So he asked me, when I should have started? I said, you should have started as early as yesterday. But you're already late, but at least don't delay further. That's what I would like to say. So before I start with LCA, so I want to give you a very simple concept. When it comes to sustainability, right, there are two theories. Again, two sides of the same coin. One is supply chain sustainability. Another one is product sustainability. People generally, get lost. Someone gets, some certificate. I don't name any certification. And then they just get some certificate. They say that we are a sustainable company. Oh, how did you say this? Our product is sustainable. How did you know? They said, no, we got this certificate. My question is, bro, so what? Dude, so what? If you have this certificate, so what? So, what I understand is that it's a kind of ignorance. Like people really don't get into the crux of the subject. So the deep-rooted subject knowledge is quite lacking. So having said that, let me put it this way. So there are two sides of the same coin. One is supply chain sustainability, another one is product sustainability. So again, a lot of topics in terms of supply chain assessments, environmental assessments, chemical assessments, all these fall under supply chain sustainability. Again, corporate carbon footprint, scopes 1, 2, 3, all that fall under supply chain sustainability. What happens is people tend to confuse these two. That's why they go nowhere. Second one is product sustainability. So without one, the other one cannot exist. So they're like, they always go hand in hand. But, if you do supply chain sustainability, if you ask me, can I claim that my product is green? You can't. You can't. If you do so, it's greenwashing. The week after next, I'll be in Singapore talking about the same thing, fashion futures in Singapore Fashion Council. I've been invited to chair a panel on this. So I'm going to talk about the same thing, greenwashing, green hushing in textiles and fashion with DPP. So all the regulations, are very stringent, and they are, very stringently watching. So what's being claimed, what's being quoted. So there is nothing wrong in claiming. You can claim, but you should have a scientific backup to claim. So now let's come back to both sets of sustainability. Now I'm going to talk about product level sustainability. That's where the LCA is all about, or the crux of LCA lies with product level sustainability. So lifecycle assessment is an internationally recognized and widely used methodology to evaluate the environmental impacts of a product. When I say product, in all its stages, starting from raw material, manufacturing, distribution, and use, consumer use, and end of life. And again, at the end of life, if you bring it back to the cycle, it's cradle to cradle. But if you just end the product, it's life there, it's cradle to gate. So you can do business to business, business to consumer, B2C communications with this. So objective LCA is objective and scientific evaluation of the resource requirements of a product, and very importantly, it will assess the potential impact on the environment during the entire life cycle phase of the product. Let me put it that way. Okay. So what it does, it tries to accommodate the resources quantification of different product stages, or product stages of a particular product, or different life cycle stages of a particular product. So it tries to take into account of how much is the energy, how much raw material is getting in each stage, how much waste comes out, what is the fate of the waste, is it getting recycled, reused, recycled back, whatever it is. What is the energy used, where the energy is coming from, what is the water, how much water is used, what is the water balance, where the water is balanced out, how much wastewater, what is the effluent pollution load, what sort of air emissions I have, how do I deliver the air emissions, what sort of waste management I have in my factory, what sort of chemicals I have, how do I manage my chemicals, what is my inventory. So all this will be taken into account of. That's called life cycle inventory. So for example, once it's all done, we have 4 stages in life cycle assessment according to ISO 14040 standard. One is goal and scope. Second one is life cycle inventory. Third one is life cycle impact assessment. Fourth one is life cycle interpretation. So you can choose any impact metrics. We have got a long list of 16 impact metrics according to product environmental footprint in European standards. Or you can simply pick carbon footprint, or you can pick energy footprint, water footprint, human toxicity, acidification, eutrophication, marine eco toxicity. There are long list of impacts. So why you have to do all this? It is, if you want to get a credible data to justify the sustainability claims, you have no other choice except doing LCA. You go to any website, you'll see they use sustainability as a buzzword. Oh, we have done this, we have done that. If you look at what was the background, what is the backup data you have? Nothing. So that's greenwashing. That's not allowed. And it helps you to make more tactical sustainability decisions in your supply chain. A lot of brands have done LCAs. Based on my LCAs, they have changed the sourcing decisions. They have changed their sourcing partners with. They have changed their designs. They have changed their fibers. They have changed their materials. They have changed their processing routes. They have changed their suppliers. They have changed their transportation routes. So, like in 20 years, maybe how many hundreds of LCAs I have done, how many hundreds of LCAs I have reviewed, I have seen the real benefit of this. But again, please keep it in mind. If you don't find any LCA leading to not alleviating the impacts, then that LCA is of no use. Okay. And LCAs are helping to gain insights to innovate with intention. It is a quantitative basis for making your strategies. I help a lot of brands, retailers, manufacturers to develop the strategy. Also, I help them to implement as well. And again, it stands out as a trustworthy partner for many brands and consumers. So if you want to have all this LCA as the only route, so as I explained, this is the concept of lifecycle assessment. So from different lifecycle stages, like for example, raw material extraction to the manufacturing stage, for example, spinning, knitting, coloration, and then garmenting. So you get the full product, completely packed, then it's sent to the, let's say, stores, let's say distribution phase. Then it comes to consumer. As a consumer, I use a t-shirt or shirt, let's say for 2 years, 30 cycles, whatever it is. So I quantify all that. Then at some point, I decide to dispose. In Hong Kong, you can't landfill it. So do in India as well. So we send to recycling. So we try to find out where it is. So I've done a lot of studies in Europe, US, and different parts of the world. So depending on the location, the end of life scenarios will vary. So if you include all that, and at the end of life, if the material is coming back, then it's called cradle to cradle. That's called circular economy, right? And if you confine the life cycle assessment quantification till the gate, it's called cradle to gate. So it will become like B2B, business to business. If you want to extrapolate the model till use and disposal, which is a bit complicated, but it's doable, it's called cradle to grave. And at the grave stage, if the material is joining back, then that's called cradle to cradle. Okay, so that's called circular economy. That's a buzzword again. Friends, I want to really say this. If I say LCA, right? I've been saying this, the word LCA. I've been selling LCA for almost 17, 18 years now. The immediate pushback is, oh, it's very complicated. Data is very difficult to get. These are all myth. Okay, if you want to talk to me, I'll say these are all myth and very expensive. Of course, it was very expensive, but we made a lot of possible ways to make it not that expensive. It is global, right? I was invited by Australian sourcing council a few years back, and I gave they asked me, Professor Muthu, you give us a topic. So I gave a topic, sustainability. What is the cost, right? Because whenever we go, the very first question, again, I have answered this maybe many hundred times. Who is going to pay for it, right? So if I open this topic, it will lead to another discussion. I have already given to almost 300 people in Australia. Everyone was convinced. 300 sourcing experts came to my talk. I gave them a talk on sustainability, who is going to pay for it, right? So I convinced them. Anyway, so if you look at LCA, it's a multi-purpose toolkit, right? LCA, if you have a LCA in place, you can have credible marketing claims. You can sync the LCA data to get DPPs. Without LCA, you can't have DPPs, right? So you get export requirements. It can help you to feed into the EPDs. EPDs, again, as I said, I'm one of the EPD verifiers. If you want to get EPDs of your product, without LCA, you can't do it. So again, you all know science-based targets. So, this helps you to go with SBTIs. It reduces the risk, very importantly, and also unlock funding with scope 3 data, right, which is extensive work. This is made possible with LCA. And you all know CBAM. this can help you to link to CBAM requirements as well. So you can see, one tool which can, it can give you a multi-purpose options. Right. Now let's come to the crux of my talk. What is DPPs? Right. So you see, we have been giving LCAs, in terms of reports. So generally, our reports, 30 pages, 40 pages, sometimes, 10 pages is a commercial report. So I've written many hundreds of reports. I've also reviewed a lot of reports. So mostly what happens is these reports are not going to reach the end consumer. So European Commission wanted to find out what is the way that end consumer will be able to differentiate a product in its sustainability metrics. This is similar to you go to a supermarket, right? You get a product, you see the nutritional label, right? So you find out, oh, this is my trans fat, I will not buy this. So this is my cholesterol, I'll not buy this. So similar is the case, people want to really find out what is the way we can embed the environmental footprint data with the product, thereby consumers can make informed choices. That's the background behind it. Very simple. Okay. So it want to really empower informed choices of consumers and businesses during purchase, promoting product sustainability and assess the regulations. So you see now everyone is with mobile, right? So it's all digitized. All India. So you are all living in digital India for many years. So you know that I don't want to describe what is the importance of digitalization of any sector, right? So you all know this. So with the mobile QR code, you would be able to scan the data and it will let you know what is the environmental footprint. Not only that, that's what I'm saying. Like many people get into the myth of DPPs because they understand only 15 to 20% and they blow it out of proportion. They really blow out of proportion. So, with 10% understanding, they make it to 95%. So they really hook up stories and that looks like very, like completely myth. It's not right. Right. Anyway, so the requirement is you have to digitize the product information. I'll tell you what information is supposed to be that, right? So it's a lot of information has been earmarked that a DPP should have and adapt transparency standards, and you need to integrate DPP within supply chain. So why it's all done? It helps, and it also aids a way to understand and map the supply chain, understand the impact of your products, and also to meet your regulatory obligations. So what a DPP should have according to EU requirements? It will talk about environmental footprints. Again, the choice is yours. You can get carbon footprint, water footprint, energy footprint. Recently, I've given for a brand for biodiversity as well, human toxicity. So it also talks about reusability, recycled content, energy and resource efficiency, repairability, upgradability, expected generation of waste, any substances of concern, durability, reliability, remanufacturing, recycling, wash care instructions, which factories have produced this product in different stages, what are the green practices, these factories, all the information has been embedded into the DPP. So with a simple QR code, once you scan it, you will get the entire fate of the product, right? So what it ensures is that it ensures that you have the reliable, credible data in place of your company, inclusive of product environmental information. And also what are the green practices, right? So, and again, these DPPs are dynamic. See, as I said, I've been doing LCS since 2008. So few years before, and even till last year, even now with some cases, LCAs are static. For example, if you do LCA, you can rotate the model after 6 months after a year. Now it's all gone. You want dynamic LCAs. You go to the supply chain, you change the energy. Immediately, instantly, you can see what is the change in my DPP. This is possible when you go to a LCA platform, which I'll show you in a minute. Right. So this is the checklist, right? Product image. Yeah, of course, it's linked to the product. You can't use the DPP for all the products or multiple products. It is linked to the product. So you have to have the product image, product footprint. Again, we give scientific and equivalences. If I say, human toxicity with 1,4-dichlorobenzene equivalence, how many people will understand? I don't know. And if I say that kgCO2 equivalence, how many people will understand? I don't. But if you say that, okay, the carbon footprint of this is, for example, if you drive a car 80 kilometers from, let's say, house cost to somewhere, so that's the DPP. And if I say that so much of primary energy demand, I don't know how many people will understand. If I say that 50 hours of a particular LED bulb's energy consumption, people will understand. So that's called equivalences for scientific footprint. then raw material details, supply chain traceability, care instructions, your impacts, and very importantly, if you have offsets, green practices, what claims and certificates you have, emissions and waste management, everything is going to be embedded into the DPP. So these are the core features which are all embedded with the DPP. And as I said, when you have a DPP and LCA and you want to make it dynamic, it is possible when we go to the LCA platform. So Green Story, like myself and my CTO, we devoted 4 years of our time to develop the credible LCA platform, which can help you to find out the lifecycle assessment impacts. You can do LCAs by yourselves, of course, with our support if you need, and you can do with all the impact categories, and you can also do dynamic DPPs and with customization, whatever you need, right? And again, all reporting based on 14040/44 standards. You will also find out the impacts stage-wise. What is the impact from raw material, impact from manufacturing, impact from use, disposal, supplier-wise, what is my contribution of my spending? Let's say this yarn manufacturer, this dyeing supplier, you'll be able to do all that, right? So this is all the LCA module core features what Green Story has built. And now I want you to really experience a DPP. If you can see the slides, if you have a mobile in your hand, just scan this DPP. You'll be able to see whatever I explained so far, all the narratives I've given so far, you'll be able to see. So please scan this and you can see a DPP, which my team has done for one of our customers. Okay. Right. There are a lot of myths. That's why I want to really specifically, I want to devote, I know I'm a bit out of time, but I'll try to finish it in a couple of minutes. I want to really devote a minute to talk about what are the myths and what's the reality. First myth is, it is just a QR code or digital tag. It's not. It is a structured data system that connects product level information across the supply chain. Myth. Manufacturers have no role to play. It's a brand's responsibility. Absolutely not. Manufacturers are critical data providers for DPPs, and more brands are insisting, I can tell you this for sure, that manufacturers are responsible for creating DPPs, right? And myth, LCAs are too expensive, time consuming for manufacturers. No, with the invasion of digital tools, datasets, streamlined methods make LCAs faster, more affordable and scalable. Even for SMEs, I have got many case studies to showcase. And again, another myth is LCA is only for academics and consultants. Absolutely no. It is incredibly required by regulators, brands, buyers. And I can say this, one of the brands, I work with a company, for example, I work with a lot of companies in Tirupur. One example is one of the companies I work with, they received a request from a brand for, let's say, 3,000 products for an order. In that, there was already a requirement of DPP. This is not today. This was 6 months before. So you can see that already people started asking about DPPs. And from Green Story side, as I said, data collection is a bit tedious, but we try to make it as simple as possible. In case if you have HIC data, we will be able to get the HIC data to our LCAs. So that's possible with us. And this is our all-in-one solution platform. So this platform can help you to do LCAs by yourselves, scale the LCAs. As I we talk to some brands for, thousands of products, even many thousands of products rather. So it can help you to do LCAs, DPPs, multiple suppliers, and we have AI features so that can read BOMs, MSDS, and you can get the complete data collection support. It can also help you to do corporate carbon footprint with scope 1, 2, 3. Also with EU compliant DPPs and LCAs, we have sophisticated models with customization, whatever you can think of, and all the reports are available to download as well. Plus, very importantly, it can also help you with EAG compliant reports as well. Okay, so these are all possible with our platform. Because of time, I'm just skipping this. So, for us, data is everything. And for LCAs, as I said, if you have credible data, so whatever LCA is not a, gimmick, it's not a magic, it's not a magic, it's a, mathematical model. So whatever you input, you get the data, you get the output accordingly. So the input data, we call data quality analysis. That's everything to us. So we try to get validated data. So whatever data you give, we can't just accept as it is. I have a pool of team members on ground. They're all, almost PhDs, postdocs, subject matter experts in textiles and fashion with experience on LCA. Say they go and validate the data. Okay, so this is how we do a dedicated support enablement in terms of data collection and data validation. And we have a lot of emphasis. We give a lot of emphasis on data. So we do data rigor. We try to work with primary data. So that means we try to maximize the primary data, which we can try to collect from our supply chain as much as possible. We also use validated data sets. We have our own data, which has been also been validated, and we use recognized methods. And also, we try to give always validated, peer-reviewed, critical review reports, and our method and models also. They're also undergone this kind of validation. So we have expertise to handle clients at any scale. So like this is our experience. Again, we have got like 10 plus years of data, gathered data, many hundreds of supply chains, rather, 100,000 plus supply chains we assessed, 40 plus unique fibers, and many hundreds of processes we assessed so far. And then these are all our credibility. We also have local knowledge. So wherever, your locations, that I have a big team in India, in different parts of India. So we have that local knowledge as well. So with all that, we try to do the LCAs with ease, with accurate, right data, with the right methods, which can help you to climb in a credible way. Thereby, you have no fear of greenwashing. So, these are all different aspects we try to do. Not just LCA and DPP, we also try to go beyond LCA and DPP. So we do on-site coaching, consulting, advisory, pre-assessments. We help you to utilize the carbon credits. We help you to build a roadmap for footprint assessment and reduction. And then we also try to help you to find out what are the innovative ways you can make your processes, fibers, products unite with, of course, sustainable innovations. Right. So with that, because of want of time, I'm really sorry for that. I just have to rush. With this, I just, I want to conclude with a huge thanks to everyone, and also for your patience in terms of, listening to me. And if you have any questions, we have got, say, 8-10 minutes. I'm happy to stay back if organizers do allow me to stay back more than the prescribed time. And if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. So these are all my contacts. You're most welcome to reach out to me if you need any support in terms of LCAs, DPPs, or any support in terms of your sustainability journey. I'll be very pleased to support. Once again, thank you so much, and wish you all a good evening.
Thank you so much, Dr. Kannan. This was really insightful. And we are already seeing very positive comments from everybody who's been part of this discussion. We have few questions, so we'll start with those questions. I'll post it to you, sir, and if you can answer them. So the first question is by Mr. Sachin Bansal, and he asks, how can one learn more about LCA and DPP beyond this webinar? So would you want to highlight some on this?
Okay, sir, I don't know where you are. Maybe the best option is you can reach out to me. I'll find a way. If you are, if you are aiming to study something, maybe you can think of some courses. But again, depends on what purpose for which you are going to learn. In case if you want to learn to adapt LCA and DPP into your processes or into your business, so please do reach out to me. I'll find a way. Maybe we keep running such webinars and seminars. It's a webinar, so it's a very informative webinar. We used to give day-long trainings, day-long webinars. And if you want to learn about LCAs, how it's all done, maybe I can arrange a, let's say, demo from one of my team members. Through that, you can learn. Or, you can also Google some of my books like Handbook of LCA of Textiles and Clothing. Again, I don't want to market it, but in case you have a learning, trust, if you have, that's a way to learn as well. And I'm also writing a book on digital product passports. So that will be published very soon. So that's also a way to learn. And if you still have any specific questions, you can reach out to me anytime. I'll be happy to support. Hope that answers your question.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Mr. Sachin. I hope this is answered. So the other question is by Mr. Vineet Pandey. And the question is, so there are 3 questions to it. I will start one by one. How can SMEs in the textile industry implement life cycle assessment given the cost and the data challenges that we face today?
Okay, can I answer the first one, please? That's a very important question. Right, sir. So as I already said, we started working with SMEs, right? Not even SMEs, even still, like micro level factories. So you are right. There are multiple ways to work at it. You asked, I think the question is already embedded with two parts. So first part is cost challenge. As I already said, there are digital platforms. For example, Green Store is one, right? So for example, we go first, we collect the data, and we try to completely unravel the entire thing with the platform. So with the platform where we have a scalable solutions, the cost is going to be much more affordable rather than if I start doing each factory or each SME's LCA. So we have that option. So the cost is going to be really, really less. You'll be really shocked to know. Maybe I can give you some math later on. If you have interest, please reach out to me. I can give you a math. For example, if I use the LCA costing for one product, but if I used to scale it, let's say 100 products, 500 products, and we have some case studies. We also talk to Karur Export Association, Tirupur Export Association, many other associations in similar terms. Second one, data challenges. You are absolutely right. So data challenge, we try to do that with various options. One option is for every product, we always engineer the data sheet based on the supply chain information, product information. And then what we try to do, we go and coach the relevant stakeholders, suppliers on how to get the data. Where is the challenge? How will you get it? So we give them on-site coaching, off-site coaching, whatever support is needed. And whenever they are stuck, I have a big team who can give all the support. So this kind of data challenges, again, this is just example. We have got multiple ways to alleviate the pains of data collection, and we have been successful so far. For many years in terms of SMEs. So this part is also answered. What's the second question, please?
So the second question is, are there any standardized tools or platforms recommended for conducting LCAs in fashion brands?
Yes, I can say use Green Stories platform. Very much used, almost recognized, acknowledged by a lot of brands, manufacturers, retailers. The reason is, again, it's not because of I work for this company. So the reason is this, as I already said, this platform is completely adhering to the standards of ISO 14040/44. And if you want to have any reporting standard, everything is possible. PEF, product environmental footprint in Europe, EU recognized DPP standards, again, carbon footprint with ISO 14067, EAG standards, corporate carbon footprint with ISO 14064-123, GHG protocol. What standard you can think of, everything is there. Everything has been aligned with. So you have that, and all the scientific data, it's been coming from credible, peer-reviewed, approved data sets, and the data is also been validated by a data panel. So everything is there. So this is the standardized method. Please do reach out to us. We'll be very happy to support. So this is one of the best method, best platform to work with for fashion and textile space. Hope I answered the second question.
Third question. Thank you, sir. The third question is, what technologies are currently most effective in enabling digital product passports in fashion?
Wow, very good question. Sir, you see, there are a lot of technologies, like we do have a lot of technologies in terms of traceability, transparency. And, it's all a complete, we are all surrounded with artificial intelligence. So that's everywhere, including LCAs, including sustainability. So we use AI, including our platform, to read the BOM. For example, if you have a product LCA, and previously, before AI's invasion, you need to give me the BOM. So I have to read everything, I have to put it. But now with AI, the platform can read through AI support. It can read it in a second, in a couple of seconds or fraction of second, rather, depends on the complexity of the data. And if you have multiple suppliers, you can upload all the data. You have MSDS, it can be read by the platform. So this is all possible thanks to AI. So because of AI, it is all done. So AI is the technology today, which is really helping sustainability to go to the next level. Hope I answered that too.
Thank you so much, sir. So there are many, many more questions. So we can take this last one question for the day, and then what we can have is that sir has already shared his email ID with you here. You can see that on the screen, and you can write to him, and hopefully he should be able to get it. So, sir, one of the questions, it's similar in the way that they are talking about DPP. What data should a factory should start preparing, or from where to start it with?
Sir, you are cutting. Can you please repeat the question if you don't mind? Sorry to bother you.
No worries, sir. Sir, they said that Sundar Lata Chauhan said that they wanted to start for LCA and DPP.
Right.
So what data should a factory should prepare for, from where to start it with?
Fantastic. Thank you so much for this question. Sundar Lata, please write to me. I'll be happy to support to answer your question. So in case if you want to do LCA and DPPs, first you need to find out which products you want to do for, or if you want to go for all products, still it's fine. So once you decide this product, so what we would really like you to do is that, give us some sort of information on the product specs and the product supply chain. Once this is all ready, this is all the data you need to prepare. So what is the specification of the product, GSM, and other basic data which you are really familiar on, and then you have to give me the supply chain information. So if it's a knitted product, which locations, where you will be able to get the data. Then the second part is the primary data or secondary data. Primary data means we go to the factories to track the data. Second data means you can say that, sir, my spinning mill is not even cooperative. They don't even listen to me, and my business volume is very less. So no problem. That part we can take it from second data. In your supply chain, you need to mark. So these are the locations, Dr. Muthu, I can get complete primary data from. No problem. We will engineer the data sheet. We will coach, we will support, we will train you and your supply chain partners to collect the data from, and they can fill it. If you say that, sir, I'm getting from, let's say I'm doing a polyester, which is again a black box, I don't have any idea. And I have a recycled polyester, which is, I don't know, whether they'll be able to cooperate. No problem. So this data we already have. As I said, you name any fiber on earth, I mean it, any fiber on earth, I work with, we have the data. So again, if our customers have agreed to use the data anonymously, then we can use. If not, I have research-based data, a lot of data we have. So we have multiple ways to solve the problem. If not, at least we have scientific databases we can get the data from. So the first thing what you need to be prepared is that first, which products you want to go for it. Number two, what is the supply chain information location? Third, from which locations or which supply chain partners you are confident that you will be able to get the data from. If you have these three and the basic BOM, bill of materials, if you get this data ready, and we also do for like different organizations, I have also done DPP readiness in a lot of factories. So this is what we try to do. If you have all this, you are set to go. Last but not least, you should work with someone like me to guide you, to coach you to get the LCAs and DPPs in a coherent, correct, precise, compliant. I hope I answered that question too.
Thank you so much, sir. There is a lot of questions and queries, and people have raised their hands, but unfortunately, due to lack of time right now, we would not be able to take it up. You feel free to see in the chat box. We have posted sir's email ID. And also on the screen, you can see his email ID. Please do write to him. And I'm very sure with the way his excitement, he's answered the questions with as equal excitement, he would be able to put forward all that knowledge that he's shared here and would like to share further.
Professor Nidhi, you may call those who have raised their hand. Karthik Samanta and Salil Chawla.
Okay. Okay. So Dr. Lal is our decision maker here. So Mr. Karthik, would you want to please ask your question so that sir can answer it? We'll try to extend it for a few minutes. I'm going to unmute you right now.
Good evening, madam. So thank you very much for giving me the opportunity at the last moment, and to the speaker also. As sort of time, so obviously I have 3-4 questions. Instead of that, I will ask you only one single question. Dr. Muthu sir, whenever we want to go to market for purchasing of any of our clothing material, the basic or primary need of the in general customer, whether the feel of the fabric, how the feel, and price, at least whoever little bit educated, what is my fiber or blend composition? It may be polyester, cotton, viscose, nylon, whatever maybe the combination is there. And particularly with the textile people who are from textile background, we study a lot of things in the angle of air permeability, moisture permeability, thermal insulation, many things. Are this information are there in your digital passport data? Such kind of data information is also there. Whenever we used to scan whatever you have explained, if we scan this data, can we have this kind of data, particularly blend, their proportion, their maybe air permeability, moisture vapor permeability, and moisture management, such kind of things, which are more important as far as comfort is concerned when people will purchase such a product?
Very good question, sir. Thank you so much for asking. Yes. So you have got all the functional parameters, right? So this is the reason, like a few years before, the regulations, right, product category rules were framed. Because, like LCA is a science, it can be applied on any product. So for example, even though I'm a textile technologist, I have done LCAs for, you name any product on earth, including some of my students are designing for aeroplanes. Some of my students are working in, I did teach in Hong Kong University. Now I do teach in India, a few universities. So a lot of my students from Hong Kong, they're all doing eco design in, furniture, pharma. Also, one of my design students is doing eco design in, aeronautical sector. Why I'm saying this is that, so if you talk about all this, these people, as you rightly said, they may not understand the values of textiles. That's why for the sustainability level, LCA level, DPP level, we wanted to include product category rules for a particular product category. Let's say for t-shirt, for a fabric, for an industrial fabric, for a denim, what sort of features are very important, so that all will be bestowed with, that all has to be included with. So as you asked, in the DPP, maybe you are most welcome to see the DPP which I have shown in the screen. You will be able to see all these parameters. For example, functional life cycle, even the test parameters, what we have done, those reports will also be embedded. And again, it's all not concluded, right? So it keeps coming. So we have a committee. I'm one of the committee members of PCR as well for apparel and textile. So we take into account of all this. One important thing for you to know is that depending on, is it going to be B2B or B2C? When it comes to use and disposal, where these parameters play a key role, major role. Nevertheless, DPPs are already given with all these functional parameters, which are all required to assess the suitability of a particular product for that particular category. That's why I say category rules. So all these parameters, test parameters rather, they are all included in DPPs.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for raising this question.
Thank you so much, sir. Can we have Mr. Salil Chawla to ask his question? That's the last question. Sir, you've been unmuted.
Okay, thank you so much. Thanks for the opportunity. This is Salil Chawla, DFE Publications. I'm the director of this media. You made a very strong business case for LCA. The direct question I need to ask you, that is LCA study being made compulsory for mandatory for some of the textile categories? If yes, which part of the country, and when do you see this being made compulsory in India, as per your understanding? Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you so much for raising this question, sir. I think you asked a lot of bits and pieces in your question. So let me answer all this. Sir, I've been doing LCAs in India since 2011. Okay, so you can see it's already 15 years I've been doing LCAs for a lot of companies, brands, retailers across the globe, especially India, right? And again, if you ask, you also included a element which made me to answer a bit differently. Mandated. So no one is kind of mandating so far, but again, I cannot generalize because exceptions cannot be generalized. I know that a lot of brands are mandated for example, from US, from Europe, to go for LCAs in that supply chain. So we have done a lot of LCAs which are all mandated by brands. On the other way around, manufacturers themselves, it's not mandated, but it is the need. Without this, as I already said, you can't climb. So, like you see, I've been to a lot of factories across the globe. In India, I would have gone to many hundred factories across entire India, South India, North India, East India, West India, a lot of factories. I can tell you this, I don't remember even one factory where I have not seen innovation in a small way, big way, or medium way. There is innovation. So, we intend to claim that, green attributes of the product. So if you ask me, who is mandating or for whom it's mandatory, more than brands and retailers, it's mandatory for manufacturers, because today they use sustainability as a differentiator. You will agree that it is a way for them to lead the business further with. So for them, it is absolutely required. It's not mandatory, it's absolutely required. Without it, there is no other go. Now, coming back to the mandatory part, what you asked for. DPPs, which are going to be mandated by European Commission by 2026 to 2027. Without LCAs, they can't go. It's entire Europe. It's EU regulation. So as I already said, a lot of brands in Europe who have started placing orders in India. We have done a lot of DPPs in India. Our DPPs are displayed in Bharat as well as Haim Textile, Kingpin Show. We have been giving DPPs in India for quite some time. So already, people started experiencing the DPPs. So it's all happening already. And, European brands, they are going to mandate by 2026 to 27 in paper. Let me repeat, just in paper. Already brands started asking to have DPP with the products. So it's already there, right? So more than brands and retailers, it is not an urgent need, rather an emergent need for manufacturers to have LCAs in their products if they want to make a claim. Let me put it this way. You see, I use my words very carefully. But mandatory, yes, it is going to be mandated. Now, if you ask about India, right? So, like, with the NITI Aayog, with CBAM, so these are all going to be mandated very soon. How soon, I don't know, but it's all going to be mandated. And, CBAM, and a lot of other initiatives from India as well. And, our leader is having a net zero initiative very soon. So if that is going to be there, I'm sure. So with NITI Aayog's scheme, which I may not be able to disclose a lot of things. So we finished phase 1, phase 2 and 3. We are going to earmark few products. So sure, one of the product segments is textile. So I already gave you a lot of answers to your questions. So it's going to be, if you ask mandatory, Indian side, already, it's already there, and it's going to be compulsory very soon. How soon, I don't know. But from European side, 26 to 27, it's going to be mandatory. Hope I answered your question, sir.
Thank you so much, sir. So there is just a humble request by Mr. Sayan Mukherjee that if you could show the QR code that you had shown in the PPT. So if you can keep it for them in the screen so they can scan it.
Absolutely.
Thank you so
There you
much,
go.
sir. Yeah. So meanwhile, while the people are scanning, I would like to now invite our esteemed, patrons from NISTI to give the vote of thanks. So Dr. Kothari and Professor Kushal Sen. So can I now invite Dr. Kothari to please give the vote of thanks for this webinar, please, sir?
I think it was a very interesting and informative webinar, and I think a lot of things needs to be learned. The way I look at it is that our education system is still not up to the mark in terms of, or not keeping up with the type of developments which are occurring. And if it becomes mandatory, we need a lot of people who are quite literate and know a lot of things about the life cycle analysis, carbon footprint analysis, and other aspects of the sustainability, which would really help the industry and also sort of be useful to the uh, environment as such. We should really be doing a lot more education work in this particular area and look at probably the all aspects of sustainability, because I think the primary data which needs to be collected and the database which needs to be built up in all areas of processing and way the final product is made has to be done very systematically, and probably there is a lot of variations, a lot of things change from product to product, the type of processing which occurs in various places. So I think the scope for this type of study is very, very wide, and probably more needs to be done in this particular direction. Apart from this particular uh, uh, code which has been developed, probably if some sort of score can really be worked out, like the carbon footprint for the life cycle analysis also, it may be useful, because that would really help in sort of consolidating everything into one particular figure. But I don't know how easy or how difficult it would be for um, people like Dr. Kannan to really build such a score for the products which are being manufactured. Uh, so it was very, very informative and interesting webinar, and I hope we would really continue to have more interaction with Dr. Kannan in time to come. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Can I now invite Professor Kushal Sen to give his expert comments on the webinar, please?
Well, thank you for inviting me. It's been interesting, and I'm sure his 2 decades of work is very much visible on the thing. The importance of primary data or data by itself in every aspect is very, very important. There's no doubt about it. And that's the most difficult thing, I believe, is there. And his whole circle of the process, he had also included a consumer, getting data on the consumer behavior, whether they wash their clothes in the washing machine and they use dryer, do the hand washing and do the sun drying and all kinds of things, and how much they do and how do they do. All that is a very difficult kind of a thing for anyone to take place. From the cost point of view and the profits point of view, obviously the questions remain. That's the reason why I'm not sure how many companies in India actually are having this passport or trying to work on this. Unless and until, as I say, you're compelled to do it, then you will do it. And if you're not compelled, then obviously you will take a different route. One of the things which probably your company or organization like you could only say that there may be some part of software which is available either as an open source. So anybody who wants to use the thing and use their own data just to assess as if they're going in the right direction or the wrong direction, at least they can assess. And when they go for certification, then obviously some experts obviously come into picture. The companies that give the certificates also come into picture, because particularly as Professor Kothari was mentioning that, for educational institutes, the only thing that they can do is, obviously they have their own data, whatever they have, but even to get their own primary data, which they know, but the secondary data has become very important, but that also is costly. The softwares are costly, and therefore it becomes difficult even for researchers to get involved and actually get the right kind of data for whatever process innovations that they do. In one of our research, one of the students was doing on sustainability, we had bought a software which we used to assess. Obviously, it looks very good at the end of the day, but So I would consider if it is possible for some organizations to make this as an open source so that you can use it. Don't worry about it till you want to get a certificate. For example, these days, a lot of educational material and very, very good educational material is available on all various kinds of platforms, all basically free if you really want to learn and do. So maybe certification could be something which you can charge. Consulting, if somebody wants, you can charge. But part of the process could be freely available on the websites of various things, so that at least they can assess themselves, like, you used to do self-regulation, and you know how costly they are. And of course, you have no control on what political stabilities in the business environment happen. For example, suddenly you have a 50% tariff coming. So I'm sure all the people who want to do whatever they want to do would be very different, So all those things, obviously, we cannot, as a scientist, talk about it. We can only talk about data and so on and so forth. Let's hope everything goes on as smoothly as we would like it to be. At the end, yes, this is the direction which we should follow. And why it is not being followed is who has to follow, obviously. Everybody says very good, you're not following sustainability processes simply because somewhere there is a cost involved. So one has to ensure either it is mandatory And I'm sure everything you force cannot be done also. It has to be almost voluntarily. It should be like a thermodynamic process. You propose something, people say, okay, I'm going to do it. So let's hope the time comes soon. As he says, the regulations in India also are going to come. And if they do, well, things will have to be done then. And I hope that would happen. Thank you very much, Dr. Kannan. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much for the expert comments and remarks. Now I would like to invite Shri A.N. Bajpai ji, the Joint Secretary for the NISTI Register, to share the vote of thanks.
Thank you, madam, for giving me the opportunity. Good evening, everyone. On behalf of NISTI, it's my privilege to extend a heartfelt vote of thanks for this successful webinar. First of all, I would like to express our deepest gratitude to our esteemed speaker, Dr. Kannan Muthu, for sharing his valuable presentations. Sir, your presentation enriched our understanding on the life cycle assessment and DPP in textile and fashions. So special thanks to our participants, textile professionals, researchers, industry leaders, and students for their active participation and engaging questions. Your presence made this webinar a vibrant platform for the knowledge exchange. I would also like to thank NISTI organization team, especially Dr. R.A. Lal, our chairman, for his planning and tireless efforts, Dr. Vijay Yadav for seamless executions in spite of his giving his personal time, for your name, madam? Dr.
Nidhi Gupta.
Nidhi, sir.
Professor Nidhi Gupta.
For our fantastic moderation, and the NISTI veterans, Professor Kusal Sen, Professor Kothari sir, others for their inspiration and participation. Thank you all for joining us. Despite your busy schedules, let's continue to collaborate and drive progress in the textile industry. We look forward to meet you all in the future. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good day. Good day.
So at the end, I would like to thank our learned speaker, Mr. Dr. Subramaniam, and fantastic presentation it was. It was in very simple language and having crisp of knowledge, which anybody would be requiring. Even for learners, it was a very good presentation. And those who have got knowledge in this area, for them also it was suitable. Professor Nidhi Gupta has first time moderated, but her moderation was very fantastic, highly fantastic. Again, thanks to Dr. Yadav for managing everything. Mr. Vijay Yadav, Mr. Bajpai for vote of thanks, and our veterans, our guide and philosopher, Professor Kusal Sen and Dr. Kothari. Dr. Vinod Shanbag has already left, otherwise we would have invited him also to say something. Dr. K.N. Chatterjee makes it a point to join every time. Mr. R.K. Gaud, I don't know whether he is there or not, but these are our regular visitors, regular participants. Today I am missing Mr. Gopal Krishnan. No, what was his name? Gopal Krishnan, something like that. He is from South, and very nice. We get very good response from participants. All participants are very knowledgeable, highly knowledgeable, and well placed. And NISTI gets good branding with the joining of all such participants. As already announced by Dr. Vijay Yadav, those who want to get participation certificate, they may write to Mamta. Her email has been given by me in the chat. Copy to Dr. Vijay Yadav. His mail is also given for the certification, mentioning the webinar for which they want a certification. Thank you all. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, my team. And thank you, my veterans and guides and philosophers, and my whole NISTI fraternity. Thank you all.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you very
everyone.
much.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, everyone.
Thank you and namaskar.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.